All right, and we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we give you a full dish of this week's episodes of NBC's #1 hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Tony Moore, and I'm joined by my usual gaggle of gals. We have,
Michael Mattis.
there we go. And of course, our special guest host is.
I'm back, bitches. It's me, James Lott Jr., and it's hotter than F here in LA.
It is, but I am sitting here cool in my AC. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live, we truly appreciate it. If you're watching us later, we greatly appreciate it even more. Make sure you like this video and also share it with other Days of Our Lives fans, as we would love to have each and every one of you chatting with us every Sunday right here at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days on Facebook and Instagram, and _ Dishin Days on the Twitter. The @ is in quarantine and doesn't know when it's coming back out. We also are now on YouTube, obviously, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you don't miss all the fun that's happening right here on our channel. We just recently released more videos for you all. We have not only the first year of our show, but we also have the Day of Days interviews as well. So make sure you guys check those out. And coming up later on this week, we'll have all of our Emmy interviews as well. So hope you guys are enjoying those. Make sure you like those videos. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share. They might have been from a few years ago, but hey, they're still great.
They may be new to someone else, you know?
Yeah, this is true. They may be new to someone else.
Ain't shit good nothing anyway, so watch them.
Before we get into the dish of Dishin Days, I feel like there are a couple of things that need to be addressed. You all have had many questions regarding a lot of the changes that you've seen on Dishin Days, so I want to make sure we go over them so that way there are no questions about what's happening. So first and foremost, as you guys have realized, AfterBuzz TV went on a hiatus right at the beginning of July. Now, with our show, we still had new episodes of Days coming on every week, and we were also at the height of a lot of the things that were happening on Days. Because of this, and we don't know how long this hiatus will last or if AfterBuzz will come back. We have no idea what's going to happen. We made the conscious decision to go ahead and branch off on our own, which is why we started our YouTube channel, Dishin Days, so that you guys can still catch us here live every Sunday, along with all of our social media platforms. So we have decided to part ways with AfterBuzz during this hiatus and really strive to create our own path. As you all know, Michael Mattis and I have been holding down the fort strongly, and we have gladly welcomed back James to come and
Somewhat gladly.
review.
Just
the shade of it all.
I love
it. I love the shade. I love it.
She knows I love him. She knows I love her.
We have definitely welcomed back not only James, but we welcome back a lot of our previous hosts to come back and recap the show with us as we continue to maneuver and figure everything out. You all know that right before AfterBuzz's hiatus, our very lovely and beautiful Tammy Govea decided to part ways with Dishin Days, as she has other aspirations and things that she would like to accomplish. And so her last show with us was not the last time we went live, but the time before that. So we still wish her well. She's still a part of the Dishin Days family. She might, who knows, pop in from time to time, but as of right now, she's not a regular host. And that was her decision and her decision alone. With an update, many of you, one person in particular, has been asking about the whereabouts of Chelsea Overrocker. Unfortunately, Chelsea had to make the decision as well to no longer be a part of Dishin Days, as she is still a full-time employee at AfterBuzz TV and has been very busy with that. So we wish her well in her future endeavors as well. We were very happy to have her here and very glad of what she brought to Dishin Days, but y'all know how life is. Sometimes life hands you lemons and you have to make lemonade, lemon meringue, or lemon tart, or whatever you like to make with it. So we wish her well on her future endeavors as well. Michael Mattis and I will always be here. James Lott Jr. will pop in from time to time. We've reached out to Mark J. Freeman to have him come back. So we're still gonna bring you the dish every Sunday. Just bear with us as we continue to figure this journey out on our own. Someone in the chat asked how you can support us. How you can support us is by making sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, that you're sharing our videos, and that you show up here on Sundays and chat with us live or watch later. Which also brings me to, and I promise we're going to talk about this week. Just a lot of stuff to get through. As of right now, we were very glad to figure out how to go live with you. Our next step is figuring out the Apple Podcasts. So as of right now, our show will not be on Apple Podcasts until we can figure out how to upload onto that platform. All of our previous shows were all uploaded by AfterBuzz, and so we're trying to figure out how to move forward. So thank you guys so much for bearing with us. Thank you guys so much for your support. This is a brand new journey for us, but this is week 2, and I think we're doing okay. So, and I see someone in the chat is like, they're hiring. We are, if you guys follow, right, if you guys follow us on social media, we have been looking for hosts for Dishin Days who are in the LA area. I am very glad that a lot of you are wanting to be a part of it, but saying I would love to do it if I were in LA, not helpful. So if you are in the Los Angeles area and you love Days of Our Lives and love talking about it and have no problems on this platform stating your opinion, then send us a message. We will figure that part out as well. And that has been all of your daily news brought to you by your host and creator and producer of Dishin Days, Tony Moore.
I have one thing to say. You know, I always got something to say when I come on here.
James, what did we discuss before we got on the show?
I have something to say. I don't care. I'm James Lott Jr.
No, you're not. First of all, you are a guest on this. What?
I am.
This was not approved.
This is so,
hey, Ellen.
This is so dated. Because I promote you guys on my show too. So you guys have been asking about the other soap show because the AfterBuzz is gone. So I just want to mention really quickly, GH Report is dead, but they'll be coming on.
Is it?
It is. Yes, dead.
Oh. Okay.
So, but GH Spotlight will be kind of taking that slot over on JLJ Media. So next week, because GH returns this week, it'll be me, Lucretia, Carla, and Frank. So for the first time, the four of us will be together talking about General Hospital. So that's on my JLJ Media. I mentioned it to you guys because you guys were asking, and some of you guys watch it also. And Bowl Breakdown is dead too, because I left AfterBuzz. But Bold and Beautiful Me Spotlight does happen. It just happened. It's out right now every Sunday at 2 p.m. It's out, so you can watch it on JLJ. I just want to mention those two things. You know, people are asking, like, what about the other shows? That's kind of the deal. We're still a soap block, just Dishin Days and JLJ Media are handling them right now.
Yes. Well, yes. JLJ Media is doing a lot, so make sure you go and subscribe to JLJ Media because he has a lot of stuff going on over there.
Support Dishin Days because they are trying to do this show for you guys. Support them. So that's what you can do. Hit that like button, subscribe. Tell other Days fans to subscribe to this page. Come on, people.
Yes. So Marlon Wallace in the chat said, people can Zoom from anywhere. Why does it have to be just LA?
Okay.
Well, that's because when we eventually get back to a studio and we all get together, you will have to be here.
Oh, Marlon. That's like Marlon.
Listen, and trust me, we thought about that as an option. We're like, we're in this Zoom space. They can do it from anywhere. But then you have to think, well, then if we move to a studio, now how is that going to look? Like, are you going to continue Zooming? So no, we want to make sure the person is in LA so that we can all work together. We can be together. We can talk about days together, reunited, and it will feel so good.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
All right. So that has been a lot. Now that all that is out of the way.
Oh my God, wait.
Of course. He had all this time to go get this hourglass, and he's just now thinking about it.
Oh.
Sorry.
Are we talking amongst ourselves? Okay.
Sorry.
And now it's now time to start
Dishin
Days.
Ta-da!
Set it and forget it. All right, so let's kick things off with our very first storyline, which is Allie, Sammy, Lucas, Nicole, Eric, Rafe, Will, Sonny, Ari, and Justin. What do you all think about the Allie, baby, Will, Sonny, Rafe storyline?
Loved it this week. There was, obviously with the birth of the baby, that was the big event with that storyline, and the conflicts between, who's the baby gonna go to, and with Sammy back, and the dynamic between Allie and Sammy is really fun to watch, because I noticed, I thought of something. It's interesting to watch because Allie is treating Sammy the way Sammy treated Marlena when she was Allie's age.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sammy is very different than Marlena, because Marlena was kind of, pushover about it. And Sammy doesn't really take it very well, and she gets really frustrated. So it's really interesting to see like Sammy getting a taste of her own medicine. It's like, yeah, you were like this 20 years ago, girl. And Lucas is kind of reminding her of that. And we talked a little bit about this in our little Facebook chat, seeing Lucas and Sammy and that relationship kind of evolving into what it is now, where they can, they're struggling with co-parenting, and then kind of, giving each other little pokes about their past and stuff. And it's fun to watch. And then you have Eric and Nicole over here, and all of the players here. And it's a product of a rich history of character history and storyline, family history, all converging. And it makes for great TV.
Yes, I absolutely love Allie. I think that she's a version of Sammy without the scheming and plotting.
Oh yeah.
She's a very strong, independent woman. She knows exactly what she wants, and she's the person that's basically like, I've seen and heard what you do, and I don't want to be like that. And I don't want your chaos. I don't want your messiness. I just want to be left alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me just do me. And then there's Lucas, who kind of mediates the both of them, and kind of talks Sammy off the ledge. Like, Sammy, listen, girl, you know how you are. Like, listen to Allie. Like, even I had to go through this. It's almost like Lucas evolved once, he had a talking to from like Kate and everyone. But Sammy will always be Sammy.
Mm-hmm. Lucas is more like, I don't want to say he's hands off. He's just not, like you're saying, he's a good mediator, because, he's trying to convince Sammy to let Allie do her own thing. But then with Allie, he's also trying to, be like, no, you need to, cut your mom some slack, or, you need to tell your, when she's like, oh, I don't want to stay with mom, I'm going to go stay with Eric and Nicole. And it's like, well, you should tell your mom. I'm not telling her. So he's playing both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing Luca, just seeing the whole dynamic is interesting.
Seeing them co-parent.
Co-parent, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we did discuss a little bit about, do we want Sammy and Lucas to reconnect? Do we want them to kind of reunite? And I'm good where they are now. Like, this is very enjoyable. Like, all of the drama from the past is gone. They can co-parent, be friendly, tease each other, and I think them getting back together would ruin that.
Yeah. James?
Both you guys, I agree with also what you guys are saying. It's I'm the historian, so for me, it's as rich in history, and there's so many directions they can go. She's related to everybody on the canvas, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an umbrella story that just keeps giving and giving and giving. The one thing, because you guys mentioned all the other stuff, the one thing that I think is kind of genius is that her and Nicole are close.
Yes.
That's just like, hi, Sammy, let's just twist that knife in there for you. That she rejects her mother, but is close to Nicole. and calls her Aunt Nicole, consistently calls her that, Uncle Eric. It makes sense to me. I love that she was there with her. It was soapy goodness. It was completely what it should be. And it was, and again, steeped in history. Also, I love when the twins are together. I guess I'm a twin, I understand this. I love when they're together. Eric and Sammy just have this, they talk to each other a certain way. He knows.
I forget that they're twins. I just think of them as brother and sister.
Right, but they're twins.
I forget that aspect.
Yeah, and so they really talk to each other in a way, to me, that's reminiscent of twins. I mean, the way they talk. It's like, he can say stuff to her, and then she's like, "You're right." Like, I know you're right. Like she would fight other people. She doesn't fight. She doesn't want to fight with her twin brother. She doesn't want to, because that's how you don't want to. That's how you don't want to. So I think that's also inspired. But I agree with you. Just the chick who plays Allie is the bomb. Great fun. That last week. I mean, she is killing it. Everyone's good in the story. Brian Attillo just makes me laugh all the time. His facial expressions. And Sammy Brady has to be Sammy Brady. I mean, she can't come back and be anything else. I mean, if she came back acting like anything else, it would be like a travesty of justice.
I personally like the scenes between Sammy and Allie, because Allie is literally just like when she was in the hospital room, and they were like, "Who do you want your coach to be?" And Sammy was like, "Oh, I'll be your coach. I don't want you." I was like, well, dang.
Okay.
And then Eric, no, not Eric. Da, da, da. Well, then fine. I want Nicole. That's who I want. And I'm like,
girl.
I was like,
do we think Nicole should like back off, or are we on board with Nicole? Like, obviously it's Allie's choice who she wants, and Nicole has made the conscientious decision to not be like, oh no, your mom needs to be here. Like, she's ready, willing, and able to be there for Allie. Do we feel like, and then there was Nicole talked to Rafe and found out that Sammy was kind of pressuring him not to adopt the baby. And what did she do? She went straight to Allie and told her that Sammy was interfering. Do we feel like Nicole's overstepping a little bit, or do we feel like she's justified in that because since Allie did come to her and Eric?
This is what I feel like. I feel like it's kind of a catch-22, because I think there's a part of Nicole that's probably like, Allie, you should probably, allow your mother to do these things with you. This is your mother. But at the same time, and I think everyone collectively agrees, it's Sammy. So it's like they get what she's saying, but you also have this young girl who, yes, she's strong and independent, but she needs help. She needs someone to be there for her. And she's grown enough to make that decision. So if she wants Nicole rather than Sammy, then I think there's still some kind of like, I don't think I should be doing this, but I'm doing this for you because I know that you need someone there. And I just have to hope that Sammy will click in her head that like she's making these decisions because of the type of person that you are.
I think Sammy means well. She does. She means well. She's just very aggressive and very emotional and very impulsive.
She means well she means well, but she wants you to do what she wants you to do.
Exactly. But that's I think that's the great, because she's not really a soap villain, but she's like one of those gray area soap characters that
love to hate.
That does villainous things, but also does. I think that's what they always think. They always think, if you just do things the way I say you should do them, it'll be fine. I think that way sometimes too. Really,
I think that way all the time.
Exactly. So I'm like, I think that way all the time. Just do what I say. Your life will go easier. I have children. I'm the one that has children in this panel. I know exactly what it feels like to have children go through shit. And Tony knows. I've talked about a few things with my daughters. That it's tough. It's tough to be a parent. First of all, I just want to say that. It's tough to be a parent. But I think Sammy does come from the right place, and I just think but she's the way she goes about it is always wrong.
Yeah,
that's the problem. But that's what Sammy does. Sammy's been that way since the beginning of time. Yeah. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And I think Allie does love her mother. She doesn't want all that.
Yeah,
it's a little much. And Lucas was a little much at first too. I mean, she had to calm him down because he's a parent. It's a parent thing, and but he got the lesson early. He's always been more low key than Sammy anyway. He's just always been that way. So
Yeah. So Steven in the chat room asked, who was babysitting Holly when Nicole and Eric went on their honeymoon?
Right, man.
Valid question.
Maggie wasn't feeling well. I don't. Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, because Maggie was sick, so
Maggie was
she's
sick.
usually the resident babysitter.
They got a million Hortons running around. Somebody running around. They could throw the baby to. Or Brady's. Maybe Roman was watching it. Well,
I can't picture Roman watching a kid.
I don't know. Like somebody in
Well,
the family.
it's a granddaddy.
It's a granddaddy. Some kid somewhere. I mean, somewhere.
So while all that was going on, we had Will and Sonny going full steam ahead on their adoption plans. They wasted zero time, and we're like, "Here, we have adoption papers for you." I was like, "Leave the girl alone. She just got out of the hospital." And there's like, "Okay, here are the papers," and you could tell she was getting a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So the plan is that, now that Allie's given birth, that Will and Sonny are gonna adopt the baby. Do you think Allie's gonna change her mind?
Yes.
Me too.
I don't think so. I think that's why she didn't hold the baby. I think she's just very like full steam ahead on the adoption, at least. I think knowing right before that Rafe only declined because of Sammy, I think she may rethink. But
oh, I see.
I saw the preview, so I'm like, it's leading me to think she's gonna keep the baby. Only because I saw the.
You think she's gonna keep it?
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think she's gonna change her mind and want to keep the baby.
She's gonna find out about what Will's part in the thing was. That's the problem. Remember, Will had that flashback. Remember, he had that flashback.
Do we feel like so about this whole Sammy thing? Do we feel like they're acting like it's some huge betrayal, and it's not? It's not like he switched to paternity result, and maybe it's because it's Sammy, and we're like, girl, she could have done worse. But like what Sammy did, like everyone, Will had to keep his mouth shut, and then I just don't think it's that big of a betrayal.
I don't either.
As you said it, because I'm like, it's making a mountain out of a molehill. Like it literally is not that bad. So she talked to Rafe, and that was her ex-husband. Of course she's gonna let her talk to Rafe. Like, who am I, Anne? But now that I'm saying they showed the flashback of Will when he was with Sonny, thinking about him and his mother's conversation. So now it's a big secret, and so she's gonna find out. Secrets always come out.
But also, Will didn't do anything but sit there.
I know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But also, I feel like this. I feel like even though Sammy came to Rafe and said that, I really think in his heart of heart, Rafe is really like, I can't do this because I don't think dealt
he did
with David.
Sammy. I think he did it. I don't think he would have declined the offer just because Sammy. I think he probably was already thinking of declining, and it wasn't really Sammy's influence. It was more of him.
I agree. And I think they're making a big deal out of this. Yeah. This thing, and she's going to find out. I started feeling she's going to make a big thing out of it too. Find out that Will was in there somehow and say, screw it.
That is just the Sammy effect. The Sammy interference is going to be enough for her to be like, no, I don't want to give you my baby anymore.
Sammy effect. Good word. Sammy effect. This was Sammy effect.
The Sammy
effect. Sammy effect. That sounds like a new segment for while she's there. The Sammy effect.
Totally. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think she's going to rethink, because when she didn't hold the baby, I was very proud of them for actually doing that on the show. Mm-hmm. I thought they might peter out and have her hold the child and go, oh my God, and then take it away. I'm actually glad they didn't do that. I'm very proud. It was very realistic. Just like, because you're right, Michael. She was like, I have a mission. Go. And I like that Nicole said, and Sarah said, no one's going to judge you if you do it. I like that. It was a very nice woman empowerment moment, actually. I liked that. And
even she was sitting there like as soon as the baby left, I really wanted to hold my baby, but I knew I just couldn't. Aww. I just couldn't. But even in that moment, y'all, I'm like, Lindsay Arnold, like, first of all, to come on 2 days and play what we don't realize is a major role in a huge family, and to be able to hold your own against legends on this show, then to be pregnant, then to give, it's like, I feel like I need to look up this girl's resume and be like, what did you do before? Because you slid into this role like knowing exactly who this character was, exactly how you were going to portray it, and like she is just like on it, and it feels natural.
See, some folks are natural. That's what it is. She could be just one of those actors who just.
Are there some people who came on the show that you think is not natural, James Lott Jr.?
Charity Rammer.
Oh.
IT is hot. This man. Excuse me telling you guys. A little hot. I don't want to name some names, but I'm just saying she natural.
Yeah.
And I think, but I'm saying they could be one of those things where she just naturally. Some folks are made for this medium. We know that. You'll see some people they're just made for the medium. They're made for something. And I think she's made for. I think she has a bright future if she decides to stay on a soap for a while. However long this lasts, but stays on a soap for a while.
Yes, agreed. Was there anything else that really? Wait.
Lindsay Godfrey, yeah, my girl Lindsay. Love her. Well, she's been a good doctor. She hasn't really done anything much in the storyline, but she's a good doctor.
I mean, yeah. Kudos to Sarah Horton for delivering the baby.
I guess, yeah, right. Go on, girl. Go on, girl. She's doing her job.
Is there anything else in that storyline that we have forgotten?
I think we got everything, didn't we? I think we got everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to mention. So how fast the adoption was going with Will and Sonny. You have to think about this. So they're choosing to adopt the baby, right? She is 8 months pregnant, which means that they literally have a month to now prepare for a baby. So in my opinion, that's why everything was kind of rushed, because it's like, all right, let's get this finalized so that we can then like hurry up and get things prepared to now have a baby, because it's not like they had 8 months to prepare. They now only have a month. You know, you got to childproof the mansion, you got to get the nanny, you got to.
They have money. They can get that done.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank you, Michael, for saying that. I'm like,
sure.
These people, almost cut. These people are rich, Tony. They can get it done in 2 days. They can get 2 days and get all done. Get a team.
They get Henderson and
Henderson.
They'll get it done.
Listen, I get it. You can also be a part of or not a part of a family with one phone call. I get it. You can also cross a ferry with a dead body in 2 scenes. I get it. So, but I'm just saying, like,
ferry with a dead body.
Well, not a dead body, but like an unconscious body. You know when they were going to the Horton cabin and they had to take the ferry and they knocked someone unconscious in Horton Town Square and you got to pick them up, catch the ferry.
Right, to go out there, right.
And then like, come on, Michael Mattis, you know the lay of the land.
I just wasn't following. All I heard was ferry and dead body, and I'm like,
when that happened?
Another night in WeHo.
What you call me? But no, but I know I'm with Michael. I'm just kind of like, I see what you're saying, but I'm just kind of like, they're rich. They can do very well.
True. Yeah. And I did like the discussion that they had with Ari.
Yes.
About a sibling
about that part.
who did not want to be interrupted from playing.
No.
And who then was just kind of like,
she was bothered. She was
just like, can we just have a dog instead? Like, why we got to have a whole baby?
I don't like that they caved. They were like, oh, we can get a baby and a new dog. I'm like, limitations, rules, boundaries, limitations.
To be fair, the girl has been through a lot and she hasn't like shown any signs of being like too much. So it's kind of like, thank you for putting up with mommy and daddy. I mean, little recap of like big things that have happened. Her daddy died and then came back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Her mama went to jail
twice
and almost died.
Yes.
And the girl is still kind of like, I'm still out here just living my life like it's golden.
She is.
So I think
when was the last time we saw Gabby with her daughter? I was like,
I think giving the girl a puppy is fine. You know what? You deserve a whole farm of puppies. You deserve the pregnant mama who's about to give birth to 12 more puppies, and you can have them all.
Oh, Jesus.
Little miniature pincher.
Yes.
Aww.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
With that, all right. So then now let's move on to Ben, Ciara, Claire, Clyde, Eve, Vincent, and then everybody else who's involved in this. So Ben is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Ben has been kidnapped by who we thought at first was some guy named Vincent.
And I told Tony this on the side. I was like, I'm the soap historian. I was like, who's he? Where'd he come from? I remember him from. I was racking my brain because he said, I'm the one who set the bomb. I was thinking, I remember you. Like, where'd you come from? I'm like trying to think. Also, I was really trying to think about like where, and then 30 years of show. I'm like, was he something? I'm like, I was racking my brain, and then.
Yeah.
And then you just hear this voice in the distance that's like, don't worry, Vincent. I can take it from here. And then Miss Eve Donovan.
Tony, wait a minute, you guys. It was like a Janet Jackson entrance first. First of all, the door opened first with the fog, with the dry ice. And I was like, I got lost control and I got lots of it. I was thinking she's going to do sort of the pleasure principle. I was like getting ready. And then all of a sudden he appeared. Remember the door opened first. It was just like, he's like, who are you? So it was like, dry ice. Look, and then he appeared. And then when she said, yeah, I'll take it from here. And I was like, that voice sounds familiar. And she was like, I mean, she was like wearing that red dress.
You were waiting for something like this, where it's like,
Tony,
hold up.
Do it, Tony. Do it. I was waiting. Do it, Tony.
Wait. This is a story about control, mind control, and it's a slow reveal, slow peel up from the stage.
I was seriously. You saw that door open first. Literally, it opened first by itself. And it was dry ice. I was like, okay, missed. I'm in.
Yeah. But then, Tony, who did you see? Everybody wants me to write down.
That's right. You write down a name. You said that's right.
I did. I now don't know if I should reveal who I thought it was.
Yeah, you have
to. I said Eve on the show last week, so I was.
You did. You were right.
I said Eve.
Okay. So
we don't know. We didn't know who it's gonna be.
No. So I was okay. So here's the thing. Well, first of all, Eve looked slamming coming through.
Yes.
I was like, okay, bitch, you better work with this red dress. But then this, right? Then she goes,
air cascading down and shit. She was like, she looked good.
But then she goes, I was at the wedding. I was just hiding in the shadows. And I was like, bitch, how are you hiding in the shadows with this red sparkly dress on? Like that, like somebody would have said,
Who that?
Well, there, like, okay, right, exactly. Or a dark coat or something over it or something.
Okay, so someone in the chat room says it wasn't Eve a little overdressed for torture. And the thing is, it's like we're talking about how she comes in and it was very dramatic and it was very like this glistening red dress, her hair just like the size of a fucking mansion. She's backlit and I was like, people are going to complain it's too much. I was like, this is just enough for me. Like, this is not too much, just enough. And it was very dramatic. But I think what is happening right now was worthy of that drama. The dramatic entrance, the way she was talking to him, it was like very chilling. And, James, you and I talked about this. You talked about it last week. It's time that, Ben did kill this girl's daughter. Ben did kill Paige. She's still dead. And there was never any real, other than like a few scenes here and there, there's never really been any retribution in Eve's mind. And so I think Eve, it just started to fester and now it's going to happen. And
I agree. I mean,
yeah. And those two, like, I'm excited about it just because those two together were in the scenes that they did share were so good together. So this is like, I'm like, ooh, it's going to be good. And it was. What we saw so far has been fantastic.
Okay, so
Tony, you gotta do it, Tony. You're like, I know who's gonna come back. You gotta do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I wrote down this name because I thought it was a male, and I was like, who would be maybe the most out of the box person that I could think of that no one would suspect? It could be this guy. And I thought for sure maybe this was a plot twist. So then on this piece of paper,
Oh my God.
I have wrote down who it was. And I'm gonna show you guys. Are you ready? It's gonna come up like
Show it.
backwards, but
Oh, how interesting.
I was just like, you know what? Like he was really in love with Ciara at one point. Like who
He
knows what happened? Like maybe he came back to like seek revenge. I don't know.
I forgot all about him.
So
That's a good guess.
and I saw it was a guy, and I was like, think so far out of the box that it'll be a gag worthy moment. And I didn't even think about Eve. Like people said Eve, and I was like, it ain't Eve. Like Eve is gone.
Well,
like,
I kept
what?
saying when I saw the feet in the promo, I go, they're gonna try to think it's a guy, but it's gonna be a chick. I had this weird feeling, and I thought of Eve instantly.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. I think
So as the week was progressing and they started talking about Orpheus and bringing Orpheus back, I got so angry because I'm like, no, I'm done with Orpheus. That last storyline with Orpheus with John and Marlena and Steve and all that bullshit, like that, I never got into that. And I was like, Orpheus is gone, good. And then they started talking. I'm like, oh God, what if he's back?
they didn't.
Go with his crap again. But luckily, that was shut down, and it was revealed to be Miss Eve.
Well, see, for me, with this storyline, I want to get this clear to people. I have no problem with Sin themselves. Like, I know they're a hot couple. They have chemistry. The actors have chemistry. I said, again, like last time, it's a redemption story for him. Bad boy, slightly good girl. I mean, she's like, she's a little bit of Bo and Hope mixed together. Rebels together. That's good soap. That's good soap. So I totally get that. But I said, I think this storyline is going to be so good because this has to kind of happen a little bit. And it gives them, because now they're married, so they are married. I know people get tired of the whole happy life, boring storyline, but a lot of times that happens. Writers usually just get dead. If they get happy, they don't do anything with them. This gives you Sin people more storyline. It gives you more storyline and more rooting value possibly for Ciara and Ben to get back together. So this turn of events, I think it's good. Anytime we see Cassie DePaiva on television, I'm always happy anyway. I'm just happy to see her. And again,
I'm glad that they're giving her this, because what they gave her last time of being Jack's,
we'll
call her Manga Eve.
Right.
I didn't really like that, and I thought that it really wasn't a good storyline for her or her character. So I'm glad that they're kind of giving her a little bit more. What do you want to say? Giving her this really, I don't want to say juicy or meaty, but those are the only terms coming to mind, that they're just giving her really something she can dig into.
Yeah, I think when I saw her, I was like, this makes sense, because she has always hated Ben for what she did to Paige. And I think it's triggering to just see him being happy. And she has no one. She has no one. Teresa is over in California. Her daughter is dead. No one in Salem likes her. Like, and so when you sitting there and ain't got nothing to do, and you start thinking about the people who ruined your life, she can't keep going after Jennifer. Right. So
just said in the chat room, this makes more sense than her going after Jennifer. At this point, there's no reason for them to go after each other. Jennifer, and they're old enemies, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah,
there's nothing for them to do now. I mean, this makes more sense. And this is in the Days vein of storyline. This is what Days does. They do torture storylines. They do brainwashing storylines. This is what Days does, folks. Whether you like it or not, it's what they do. It's what they do. So this all kind of falls in line. And the dialogue was kind of funny. She has had a time of her life. They gave her some dialogue. She was like, "Oh no, I don't know how to brainwash people. I can't do that."
She's like, "I don't like to get my hands dirty.
Get my hands dirty. I don't break a nail.
Might break a nail.
Like, the dialogue is kind of funny. She's like, she was poking with the stick at him and stuff, just poking at him and grabbing his hair. And like, somebody sitting here, what's kind of a turn on too? I was like, oh, kind of a turn on. But I was like, here we go. So, folks, we're going to see him shirtless this week, so everybody get excited.
We're going to see him in his underwear.
Okay. Well, I'm ready.
How do you all feel about her plan to make him the necktie killer again?
Now, that's where you lose me a little bit. Because I feel like Eve wouldn't want him to kill somebody else. I mean, like, even if it's Ciara, it's still like, you're going to kill your... That's a little more on the Stefano spectrum of things.
Okay, so here's why I think she's turning him into the necktie killer, so he will kill someone else and be punished for that murder.
Right.
And by way of that, he's getting punished for Paige.
Right. I get that part, but I just think it's...
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, Michael, because it's also kind of making sure that not only turning him into the necktie killer, killing the love of his life, and then sending him to jail so that he basically is in the same spot as Eve. He has lost everything. You know what I mean? So but at first, and it was interesting because we had this whole dialogue last week about redeeming Ben and like these characters and not reminding that he killed 3 people and like all this kind of stuff. And then here we are being reminded that he's the necktie killer, and then like him reverting back to that, which now makes sense about when he asked Marlena the day of the wedding about he was scared that he's going to revert back to doing that. But little did he know,
foreshadowing.
Yeah, little did he know someone was going to kidnap him and try to turn him back into that.
The other part of this was Claire and everyone, or a lot of people thinking she had something to do with it, but she was cleared because there was video of her in a park where she said she was, and part of me was like, how does that alone fully exonerate her? But whatever, I went with it. And we got to see Mama Belle really protecting her kid, and then Sammy came over and was like, girl, you gotta get her out of here. Was like, you cannot stick around. And so she actually convinced Belle to take Claire out of the country.
Oh, yeah.
And but before she could, Sean came home and was like, you've been exonerated. And then Ciara, had her moments with Clyde and trying to figure out, if Clyde was involved somehow, and Hope didn't want her to go see Clyde, and Rafe was like, well, I mean, she wants to, she's an adult, whatever.
But also she was right. It made sense because if Rafe went, and maybe Clyde actually did have something to do with it, Clyde wasn't going to tell Rafe. But if Ciara showing up and saying what happened to Ben, I think it puts him in a different thing.
Clyde now has a soft spot for Ciara because he knows that she has his boy. And I do feel like Clyde has kind of turned a page and it is really remorseful for the past and how he treated Ben when he was little, and really for what he can do in jail is trying to do right by Ben. And
because he was like, why would I do it? I got him out of jail. I got him out of here. And you could tell he was kind of like, where is he? Like, he was like, oh, I'm not, he wasn't playing trying to play where is he? Where is Ben? He was kind of like, where is Ben?
Yeah.
He was no too. He's like, I don't know either. Where is he? And so I was like, oh, he's not behind it either. I was like, okay, he's not behind it either. I really believe him.
I felt like that was too, when we were going through who it was, I felt like Clyde was too easy of an option.
Right.
And then, like I said, they brought up Orpheus, and I was like, oh God, please no. Nothing against the guy that plays Orpheus. I just did not like that story. So now Claire...
They brought up JJ.
They went through Claire and Ciara, once Ciara kind of, let her guard down, they made up. They were like Angela, Murder, She Wrote. They were really trying to put the pieces together, and they kudos to them. Once they, talked it out, they figured it out. They figured out it's Eve.
They were better than a Salem PD.
Okay, right? Yeah.
They figured out a case. I'm
gonna go to Ciara and Claire and be like, can you two talk this out?
Exactly.
But hasn't everyone been better than the Salem PD?
Yes, that's true.
I mean,
but when they start deducing stuff, and she was like, and when they mentioned JJ and start mentioning other thing, they go, wait a minute, wait a minute. They're they mentioned Trip, they're like, wait a minute, Eve. It was like, yes, and they went back in the history what Eve did before, all this, and it just, and so they try to get back at each. It's like, bad person did stuff and bad person did stuff, and they're all trying to use each other. And that's kind of a great use of history also. It's like, no one's really innocent fully. So things can't be believed if they're set up a certain way. They mentioned Chad, which I forgot about the whole thing with Chad. I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of folks that don't like Ben, really.
No, he does have a lot of A lot of not
Sonny.
fans.
Like, Sonny wasn't there. Like, Sonny wasn't there. I was like, oh yes, Sonny wasn't there. Like, it was kind of like an interesting moment.
Yeah. I also like how, before even starting the list, two things. One, Claire just being the hype woman to Ciara and being like, we're gonna find who did this to Ben, right? We're gonna find him. We're gonna do this. We got this. And I'm like, what the hype man is going on with Claire right now? Like, she is like really hyping Ciara up. But then also, when they were making the list, she was like, no offense, but this list is about to be long.
There was some shade. I loved it. There was some shade. I loved it. Like, no offense. Like, but then Ciara got a little dig in there too. She saw about something she just goes, well, that's back when you were kind of like, setting fires. So like, there's a lot of stuff. There's no one's innocent completely. That's the whole thing. No one's innocent completely. So that's why I thought it was really cool. I love seeing them be friends more than enemies.
Yeah.
Like,
me too. Like, okay, so I did like last week. I did love their confrontation scene because I'm a sucker for a good dramatic confrontation, But then seeing them make up and being like, like I said, murder she wrote and solving it. It was cute, and it's like, no, they're friends. This is who they're meant to be.
Yeah.
And the way they ran out of the room all excited, it was cute.
And it's just kind of like what I said last week. I think Claire just really, 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 really wanted to make things right, and so it seemed suspicious, but
it was legit.
She was overdoing
she had
it.
Very honorable intentions.
Yeah.
So she was trying to be. She wanted some redemption herself. I don't folks think like she just got out and everything, but that's the whole point. When you come out, you feel very strong. Like, I've changed. So why don't you all see that? That's kind of a natural reaction when you're trying to get approval.
Yeah. And that's it, right? That happened.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now moving on to Chad, Gabby, Jake, Gwen, and Lee.
Loved it, Lee Shin.
I was. You know what?
Lee Shin guy is an attractive, handsome man.
He's hot.
He also has that goofball factor.
Yeah,
it's so fun. It's so like interesting. He's not like some suave. Like, he's handsome, but he also doesn't have. He's not like the suave, like cool, collected guy. He's just like, okay, he's kind of nerdy, kind of goofy, not really sure of himself. But it was fun to watch him and Gabby kind of play off each other.
I really wish that he was on the show more. I was actually literally just thinking, whatever happened to the guy that played Lee Shin? And then he popped up, and I was like,
there he is.
Exactly. I love the storyline. This story, them moving into the house. I was like inspired.
That's another classic thing that Days does. People moving into that Demira mansion that people don't want moving into that Demira. That's like a power play. Like, I'm moving in.
And Billy Flynn gets if I had a 3 Snaps award, he would get a snap for all his facial. He was eating it with a spoon. Yeah. He was smiling. I was just like, I couldn't stop laughing. It's like, yeah, it's my new brother, and blah blah blah. And I was just like, I think it's a great idea to stay since she's right. I don't really own the house, but
and Chad was like, here, let me show you the rooms that are available.
I thought his face was so. Oh my god, it was.
But then, how did they still end up in a room that wasn't available? That's Lucas's room.
Yeah. That was kind of confusing. Well, because they only had one setup, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, listen, throw some new bedding in there.
Change the sheet.
But I love it. I just think this whole thing is classic soap. I love Gwen is the great addition. I'm telling you, I see Gwen and Chad. I see some kind of.
I know. I'm hoping with Gwen, this wasn't like, because this was all done 8 months ago. Yeah. I hope that they kept her around long enough to see the audience reaction and to see how it actually is how receptive everyone is to it, because I think she's solid. She has, the actress herself has soap history from YNR, and she's very strong. She's and I hope she stays around.
She's an Emmy nominee, folks, from Young and the Restless. She had a really good storylines there. She's good. Go on, Tony.
I really like the character of Gwen too, but Jake was very reluctant. He was just kind of going along with. I don't think he really wanted. I think he still has a curiosity now to like his Demira side, but I think there's a strong part of him that's like, I just really want to be Jake the mechanic. Like, I don't want any of this. And I was with Gabby when Gabby was like, I don't want some guy to remind me of my dead husband. That was my Camila Bannos impersonation. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, yeah.
But I get it. Like, but I feel like I like the connection between Jake and Gabby. I do not want it to be romantic.
I see it. I'm sorry, I see it.
I don't know, because I feel like this in classic soap, you messed up. So now same actor is back to play the twin to have the same chemistry. Nope. You know what I would rather? I would rather them just kind of team up and be a part of Demira. Although I still don't think Jake is in, like Jake again wants to be like, let's start up Demira Auto.
Demira Auto Body.
Yeah, Demira Auto Body.
Boulevard.
Yeah, and like that. But I personally don't want to see Jake and Gabby together for the sake of us seeing Stefan and Gabby together.
But
Yeah,
Tony, it's happening. It's gonna happen.
No,
I'm sorry
I'm
about
good.
it. It's Days of Our Lives. It's gonna happen.
I'm
And
okay.
I wish.
So if this follows a typical soap pattern, what's going to happen? Jake's going to get with Gabby, Gwen's going to get with Chad, and then boom, Abigail's going to come back.
Yes. And
If we're following soap opera formula, that's where the storyline is going.
But I agree with you, Tony, in the sense that if they didn't film so far in advance, I mean, it's working for them, obviously, compared to the other soaps. But they hadn't, then there may be some other stuff that they may say, oh, this Jake guy has chemistry with this person instead. But I think they're just like I think they're thinking it's gonna be Jake and Gabby. It's the Redux. It's gonna. That's what it's gonna be. I mean, I think.
What I don't think is gonna happen. I don't think they're gonna have Jake make like a transition. Like he's still gonna be Jake. They're not gonna make him like this, like Stefan, if that makes sense. They're not gonna do like have his hair and shaved and all that. He's still going to be Jake the mechanic, just in the Demira family.
I think people are for Jake and Gabby. As I'm looking in the chat, go ahead.
I was just saying, if things were good, I would want Lee Shin with Gabby. That'd be a great romance.
Mm-hmm.
Very different. And then maybe have a quadrangle with the others, or I mean, who knows?
Entanglement.
Entanglement. That's right, Michael. Entanglement. I love it. I'd explain it to my mother the other day what entanglements were. And then, or there could be somebody else on the canvas that one of the others could kind of orbit towards.
I think that I think what would make for a better storyline would be if like a new character came on today's. Call him Terrence, just for the sake.
I knew you were gonna go there. I knew it.
Just for the sake of a name, and but he comes back as like a business tycoon, and like him and Lee Shin have like dealings with each other, and then Lord and behold, they become a super couple.
Suddenly, the wheels are in motion. Yeah, exactly.
That sounds very uninteresting to me.
Woo! The shady side.
You know what? I will pull a Nene Leakes and be like, you know what?
You do have the power to cut me off. You do have the power to be like,
thank you for watching.
Michael lost his connection.
And listen, this wouldn't be the first time I cut off Dishin Days, now would it?
I know. May 31st.
But I don't know. I just, I like the friendship that Gabby and Jake have.
Oh, I like it.
But I also like this. I kind of like the bickering between Chad and Gabby still, with like the push and pull with like Demira. Yeah. But it's kind of like at some point, Chad, you have to realize that Gabby is like a really great businesswoman and she saved her ass. So it's kind of like, instead of still going at her, maybe just realize that she is a vital asset.
But it's the Abigail effect.
Yeah.
No, the Abigail factor. That's what it is. The Abigail factor.
But at the same time, they have to take accountability for what Abigail did to Gabby. Even though she wasn't in her right frame of mind, she still sent Gabby to jail.
She did.
which caused her to get beat up, which
Yep.
caused her to not be able to have kids anymore. Like that, like you guys can't keep just being like, Abigail wasn't in her right frame of mind.
So
Sorry, Gabby.
if Chad were to lighten up on Gabby a little bit, that could be the new Chad Abigail conflict. You know what I mean? That could be the conflict that this couple has, because they've been married, they've had some struggles, but the conflict hasn't been with each other. So if Abigail were to return and Chad is chummy with Gwen, first of all, and then also Chad has started to lighten up on Gabby, that could lead to conflict that could be the Abigail Chad storyline of that time.
Maybe.
So I
But I tell you what, Gwen is not having Gabby, because when Jake was like, when she found out about the bomb and she was like, well, why didn't you come here to check on me? He's like, well, I was helping Gabby.
I was helping Gabby. I took her to the wedding as my +1.
She was not having it.
Not having it at all.
No.
But poor Jake. He's just that sweet, lovable goof.
I feel like Jake is just doing the best he can.
He really is.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree. But I'm loving BB's portrayal as Jake. I love it. Brandon is just a great guy.
Too. It's and it's so different than Stefan. Like there's no ounce of Stefan in there at all. The way that he is, the like when he talks, it's like his head kind of extends up, and there's a slight curl of the mouth. There's all these little things that he does to differentiate between Stefan and Jake.
Vivian's still out there cheating.
Oh yeah.
The whole Vivian thing is still out there. So
did you hear about Vivian? Not dead.
Not dead. Let me tell you what Vivian did. Vivian said, listen, I am not about to rot in jail. So peace out, bitches. Let me go sit somewhere real quick. Yes. And then if I return, I return. If I don't, but I just needed to wrap things up in a bow in Salem real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So
back. Anyway, we got that going on the side somewhere. So
yeah. So we'll see about that. And that was it for that storyline, right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Before we move on to tidbits, want to remind you guys to please like and follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Dishin Days, _Dishin Days on Twitter. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right here. You're on it, you're watching us live, or you're watching us later. Click that subscribe button and also click that thumbs up button, so that way we get all the likes and subscribers we need to keep this train moving. All right, now on to our one tidbit that we have, which is Kayla, Steve, Justin, Bonnie, Lucas, and Kate. I have to give kudos to Justin for handling seeing Kayla and Steve very well.
Yeah, that's Justin though. Justin's the good guy and gave them kind of, I don't know what to call it, but yeah, his well wishes and understanding. Well wishes, there you go.
And I love that Kayla kind of put him aside and said, listen, I need you to know that what we had was real.
Yeah.
In case there was any doubt, like, I don't want you to think that you were some filler until Steve came back. Like, I really, really, really did have feelings for you. And I like that happened, because I think that's what we needed for closure for that. I'm not on this train. I still think that they could have did stuff with Justin and Kayla. But y'all wanted Kayla and Steve back together. So we'll see in about a year if he gets kidnapped again, brainwashed, maybe it's her, something so that.
The problem with super couples, because they're part of the super couple era, Jack and Jennifer, Bo and Hope, Steve and Kayla, Shane and Kimberly, like they were part of this huge thing. Even other soaps like Victor and Nikki, or Carly and Sonny on GH, they're so big that at this point they can't be with anybody else. They can flirt with others, they can kind of flirt around other people, but the fans, what they want. And so you're right on one land. It probably would have been great if there was no super couple. It could have been a great relationship. It could have totally been a great thing. He's a good guy, we're fine. But fans, they want what they want, and the soap knows that. And actually, the soap's trying to be smart because they want to stay on the air. They're trying to be smart, so they're like Steve and Kayla. I mean, that's just like the natural choice.
Fine.
Then we have Bonnie still roaming around town.
Bonnie.
Sneaking into bed with Lucas.
And nobody wants Bonnie.
I know.
Poor thing.
Like Bonnie is hot and ready, and everyone is just kind of like,
pass.
Man.
You're hot and ready. You're hot and ready. She is hot. She's hot to Totsy.
Yes, she is. But I love that every time she comes across people that don't know it's her. Like when she saw Justin, Steve, and Kayla, and they were like, Adrian, she's like, I am not Adrian, I am Bonnie. Does anyone else want to read her book? Like, I kind of wish that book existed so that I could read it.
There was that moment where Gwen and Jake were in Lucas's room. She's like, I have this book. I've wanted to read it for so long.
Oh, Lorraine Love's in the chat room. Starting mess up.
Who?
Lorraine Love. Who? Yeah, who?
Who?
Who her? Who that? Who that is?
Oh, Mark J. Freeman. Shout out to Mark J. Freeman.
The chat room. Starting mess already. We didn't say something at the same time. No, the thing about that was funny. The Bonnie thing was funny because she's just like, I'm so tired of this. But then I love Kate and Lucas talking.
Oh yeah.
It's about rich history there too. Mm-hmm. And when she's like, what Bonnie was but you said like, no, she just appeared in my bed. And it was going back and forth. It was oh my God, it was so funny.
I always know when you're lying, like you're lying right now. You slept with Bonnie. I saw her leave your room.
Like, no, she's stuck into my bed. She's appeared. And Kate's like, oh my God. Like everybody, no one wants her. Everybody's just like, why are you here? Like, why are you here bothering us?
But also that is a question, like, why exactly is she there? Because it hasn't made sense as of yet, especially because everyone is like rejecting her. And like, it's starting to feel like she really has no purpose of being there.
See, my thought was they brought her on possibly to put with Justin, of course.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe even though there's a whole complicated history there, I thought that could be some kind of reason to kind of her try it and like let me show and live in the dead shadow of the dead wife. I mean, it could be a whole thing there. It could be a whole thing. If done well, it could be a very interesting story. But you're right. Right now, she's kind of like flouncing around town.
Yeah,
I'm good with it because I love Judy Evans. We all love Judy Evans.
I do love Judy Evans, and she's great. Yeah. I just need to have a sense of purpose.
Okay.
For the character.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Yeah.
For the character.
Hopefully we'll get it soon. Hopefully it makes they get the ball rolling and her purpose is made clear to us soon.
Yes. And then who else do we have in there? I mean, that's it. That's it with that storyline. Okay. All right. And that was your week of Days of Our Lives. And it's now time for our favorite part of the show, which are the segments. And we will always start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap.
Too much going on. Hang on. Say it again.
Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap.
All right, so if you've already paid attention to your screen, my 3 Snaps Award goes to Little Allie, who could not be bothered by a baby sister or a baby brother. She could care less. She wanted to know when she was getting her dog. So for being unbothered about a new baby entering this life, Little Allie, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. And an honorable 3 snaps to Eve in the red dress, because listen, you cannot deny that Cassie DePaiva slayed that dress. Like,
you know what it reminded? Okay, so you know what that reminded me of? It reminded me.
Yes.
No, but not Days related. Oh. Tina Turner had a music video, like an old school disco music video.
Oh, Disco Inferno?
Like yes, with like the red glittery dress, and that's what it reminded me of.
Another video,
yeah.
I thought of Kristen though when she was in the red dress over the EJ and the whole thing. I thought.
Oh yeah.
Bury that. Very that.
I love
All right, and now it's time for
Caption that. All right, this week's Caption That Photo comes courtesy of Eric and Nicole getting interrupted by Allie. Coming back, they just got back from their honeymoon. They're fooling around on that uncomfortable looking couch, but whatever floats your boat. So this week's caption goes to Missy Walker 1965 on Instagram with her caption, "Afternoon delight, now leave." That's it.
okay.
That couch does look uncomfortable, Michael. I
Afternoon
agree.
delight, get out. And that was caption there.
And now it's time for Look Who's Related.
Oh, you get the high note, but you didn't. The high note.
We discussed last week that I can no longer do that
No,
note.
let's get anywhere.
That was from a few years ago. Look Who's Related.
That was okay. That was kind of close. Close. So, folks, look who's related.
Be the last time you come on this show.
Exactly. This is the Ben Weston edition, folks. Yes, folks. I decided to do a look who's related on him because I didn't realize when Claire and Ciara were talking, I was like, wait a minute. They started naming all this stuff I forgot about. The character of Ben has been on for 6 years. And I realized that goes by fast. 2014. Yep. Justin Gaston played him first. He went on to other stuff. He's been other things. And then came on Rob Wilson, who, of course, was one of the Price is Right guys back in the day. There was a whole big, he's the first male model to do that. And he had his own little history. And he's fine as F. Of course, we love him. Yes, what? Oh, yeah.
I called her Allie. That was Ari.
It's confusing. We have Allie and Ari, and then, yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
Freeman called you out on that.
Ari's going to be Allie's baby. Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Okay.
Okay. So, Clyde Weston's his father, Jordan Ridgway's his sister, David's his nephew. I forgot that he dated and was engaged to Abigail. I totally forgot that whole
I forget their history. I forget that Ben and Abigail were even a thing. But yeah, that was his story.
That was his story when he first came out. And then she got pregnant because she had slept with Chad, but we don't know who the father was at first. And this was all pre-necktie killer first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then he started killing, and he killed, and he killed Serena Mason and Paige Larson. Then when he helped her give birth to her baby, Abigail's baby, he killed midwife Wendy. He shot her and threw her in the woods. He did kill Will, but then Will's alive. And he attacked, which I forgot about this too, Dr. Marlene Evans. I forgot about that. He attacked her, but they got interrupted.
Yeah.
Totally forgot.
Yeah.
So it shows how far they've come together in a relationship, that Marlene and them come together. So it's very interesting. These are things I totally forgot about. And now he's married to Ciara. So it was just kind of like, he's related to a lot of people that I forget that he's related to in a weird way, that I just totally forgot that he was. But the whole Abigail thing I forgot about, and the attacking Marlena Evans I forgot about also. And that's your Ben Weston edition of Look Who's Related. So
basically, Who He Kill.
Say what?
It was the Who He Killed edition.
Who He Killed edition.
Right.
Attack edition.
And that has been Look Who's Related.
There you go. Bless you.
And of course, we're going to give a shout out to the Real Me World for his old shiz moment of the week. I will go ahead and retweet that out as soon. There it is. Found it. I just retweeted his old shiz moment of the week. You guys can make sure you check that out. Thank you, the Real Me World.
Yes, the Real Me
for doing
World.
that. All right.
And also, I want to say, there was a Designer Days, which that segment's dead. It's not on the show anymore. It would go to eat. It's dead, folks. Yeah. The girl's not on the show anymore, so no Designer Days. That was her segment. So
but you decided to do it today?
I'm just answering them right now. People are talking about it. Like, where's Designer? Tony should do Designer Days. Tony does 3 Snaps Award. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
he does Designer Days.
Generally, when the host leaves, the segment leaves.
Yes.
When Mark left, Quote of the Week left.
Exactly.
When James leaves, so will Look Who's Related.
Exactly. But if she got it, it would be Eve, of course, because we just said her dress was.
Well, yeah, but
Also, the cute little jumpsuit that homegirl had on too. Claire had on a little leopard print or something.
oh yeah, that was cute. That was really cute on her. All right, so y'all, it is now time to take a sneak peek.
We have news and gossip first.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. I forgot how to do this show on our own.
Me too, because I've been all over the place.
Yes. So first, before we get into that, let's go into some Dishin Days news and gossip.
Oh, I guess we don't do that anymore, right? We have to come up with our own news and gossip. Okay.
Yes.
So this will be a little janky, but whatever. So we can't think of a better way to cap off 4 weeks of on-air weddings that someone happened to have written than to them to have a wedding themselves. So we would like to send out our most heartfelt congratulations to the man himself, Ron Carlivati, and his new husband, David Rogel, who got married yesterday. It looks like the ceremony went off without a hitch and was free of explosions, mothers with fainting spells, gun-toting old ladies, unwanted guests dressed like solid gold dancers, pregnancy announcements, doppelganger reveals, and you get the gist. But again, congratulations to Ron and David, and we wish you the most happiness all the days of your lives.
Yay! I'm so that guy though. Like, I want to know, like, how's the wedding? Like, what happened? Like, where was it?
It looked really cute. Like, from what they posted, it looked really nice and intimate, and
yes,
just very casual, but very, very refined.
Yes, it's like it was very like, you know, like it's a great affair. It wasn't too formal.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was with a small like group of people because of COVID. But everything looked good.
Did you notice the hashtag on his post? It said "planned in 1 week."
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
So I'm wondering what made them decide to just kind of fast track. If maybe they had a plan to get married that was, you know, botched because of COVID, and they just decided, you know what, let's do it now. Yeah. Or I'm curious about that. But yeah, it looks like they look very happy. They make a good looking couple.
They really do. So congratulations to Ron and David, and
yeah,
you know, yay.
All right. Another reminder about our Spectrum celebrity events that are still happening in October, but because of social distancing, we had to limit the tickets. So tickets for both events are sold out, but there is a wait list in case someone cancels, tickets open up, whatever. So you can get on that wait list. And reminder about the events. First up is Salem Proud on Saturday, October 10th at 10 a.m. with Brock Kelly, Chandler Massey, Greg Rickard, and Christopher Sean. Later on that day is Dishin Days Quintennial with Brock Kelly, Billy Flynn, Kate Manzi, Stacey Hayduke, Eric Martzoff, Jen Lilly, and Scott Chill Stone. Oh, and Paul Telfer. Paul will also be there. Full information and to get on the waiting list, go to spectrumcelebrityevents.com. And lastly, we had a whole lot of birthdays this week. We want to wish a very happy birthday to Eric Martzoff, Martha Madison, Brian DeTillo, Wally Kurth, Nadia Bjorlin. All of them had birthdays this week, all Leo season. So we all hope that they had very special birthdays.
Yay! Happy birthday
I have a story about
to all of them.
About Martha Madison. I just remember this memory comes to my mind when I was first in LA. I had finished my internship at Young and the Restless, and I had gone to a appearance she was at. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I was like, oh, I just finished an internship and blah, blah, blah. So she wrote down, she's like, oh, send your resume to Days and send it to these people and tell them that I referred you. So I did, thinking, what the hell, what do I got to lose? 2 weeks later, I get an email from Janet Spellman.
Oh, yeah.
Janet Spellman. And she's like, hey, Michael, got your resume and Martha referred you. We have an opening for a production coordinator. You would need to start next week. Are you available? Of course, I wrote back and said yes, even though I was working somewhere else at the time. 2 hours later, I get an email back. She's like, oh, after full review of your resume, we really need someone with experience, so we don't think it's going to work out. But whatever, without that guidance from Martha, I never would have had the chance. I never would have, that never would have transpired. And I know, Tony, you said that when you were first in LA, Martha really helped you out. So I just want to give a shout out to Martha Madison, who will go out of her way for the new gays of LA.
She does.
Special lady there, yeah.
She is number one, forever my dance partner, and two, she was the reason why I started doing background work on Days. She was like, here's this person's information, do that. She's also the reason why I signed up for the gym that I signed up at. So
funny.
There you go.
So yeah, but the greatest thing about Martha is that no matter when I call her, she's like always there. So I've always appreciated about it. But everyone, like there's so many people that I truly appreciate in this cast. So
I want to do a special shout out to you, just to Wally Kurt. Whenever I call him, he answers the phone. We've done a lot of interviews together because he's on two soaps. And whenever I have General Hospital stuff, he always comes on. He's very sweet. He tweaks my stuff. He promotes my stuff. I promote his stuff. To say that there's some folks in this town really are supportive. Like they really are.
Oh yeah.
Like, not everybody, but there's some folks.
Hashtag Ellen.
Not everybody. But some people are very supportive. And I just want to give a shout out to, because he's just a really nice guy also. And Nadia's another person who's super. And I met Nadia like 8 years ago, and she's another person who's super sweet.
Yes. They all are. Like,
Eric, of course, Eric. I mean, they're all
Yeah, I still anyway, whatever. We can go on and on about that. But
it's very nice.
Yes. But now it's time for you all to take a little sneak peek as what's to come on next week's episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Are you sure you want this?
This is rare. I am going to turn you back into the necktie killer.
All new Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
Okay. I know.
Now listen.
Between Paul Telfer and Rob Wilson, I'm all in. All in. All in.
Somebody getting pregnant next week. I can feel it. I can feel it.
I'm gonna get pregnant next week. I was watching these shows.
Like Lindsay Godfrey.
Okay.
Right? Okay. That was like that part of the promo, like Ben and his underwear getting shocked was not the most shocking part of that promo to me. Like the way he just like flipped over and was like, "There's my ass," like.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the laying on the bed and the that I'm like Lindsay, like I absolutely adore Lindsay Godfrey.
That's my buddy.
So much. I can't wait for next week.
I want to do you guys think, okay, so there's a lot of shiz is talked about daytime and soap operas and all that. I feel like the group that they have at Days of Our Lives right now gets it and has fun with it. And they don't try to take themselves too seriously with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's really why one of the reasons the show is so entertaining right now is because they know what the show is and they have fun with it. And they even say it. They're like, oh, we play together or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the actors off, they have phoned each other. They have a great time. I mean, it does seem like they're having a good time.
But we see it, especially, when they come to our show, we see, how much of a great time they have. So, and the chemistry that they have. So listen, next week is going to be fire. So I can't wait to come back here next week and talk about it with y'all. All right. Well, that has been your show, Dishin Days. Before we head out, Michael Mattis, let the kind folks know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at MLMattis and Twitter at MLMattis. James
Lott Jr.
Tomorrow's the premiere of Forever and a Day. It comes out tomorrow, audio podcast on JLJ Media. It's really good, folks. And it comes out tomorrow, and it'll be available on every streaming platform. It's audio, not video, so it's just audio. And so I'm very excited for that to come out tomorrow. And you can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. Sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms.
Because he is for sale. And of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days on Facebook and Instagram, _Dishin Days on Twitter. And of course, right here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And you can find Lil' Ol' Chocolate Me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next Sunday for another full dish of your favorite soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Bye, everybody.
Bye.